A lot of these actors, they're all in on this stuff. They're not going to tell you, but they have been deeply involved in the dark side.
They couldn't tell you that they're in on it because they don't know, Greg. Their personality has been split. The brand new DVD of Last Evangelist, you can get it right now. It's limited collector's edition. It's got the new episode on it, along with band videos with me and Michael Lake and Lisa Havens, Sheila Lazinski. Also, if you want to see Last Evangelist, the episode, it's exclusively episode 1 on davidheavener.tv. Greg, the Lost Boys, a cult gang, an occult gang in Texas. You had an encounter with these Lost Boys. Tell me about that. What happened?
It's one of the great griefs and one of the great unsolved mysteries of or unsolved crimes, I should say, of everything I've worked with. It involved a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old boy and a girl, or girl and a boy, that got involved with a group through Dungeons and Dragons called the Lost Boys, who took their name after the Hollywood movie with Corey Feldman and Kiefer Sutherland of the same name, a vampire movie, basically. And so they fashioned themselves after that. They did Dungeons and Dragons, but then they started to practice black magic, and they were dealing drugs, lured these kids in further and further, and they tried to get out, and they disappeared, and their bodies were found murdered about 2 months later. And it was heartbreaking. I saw all the ways that this happened. I went to the funeral, and that was the hard part. I don't know what was more difficult, having the preacher who didn't even know these kids pronounce their names wrong, which showed you what kind of investment he had in it, or the fact that every one of those Lost Boys showed up with their flags, with their jackets that had Lost Boys on the back, mocking through the whole funeral. And it's still solved.
They actually came to the funeral. This is 1989. Is it okay to say their names, the girl and the boy? Is that okay? The first.
I probably want to protect that for now.
Okay, I won't do that. So you believe that the Lost Boys either murdered them or had a hand in murdering them, and then they just showed up, just mocking it. Okay,
that's the arrogance level they had. They thought they could get away with it.
Yeah,
and some of them have, but should they ever see this, which they're still around, just know that there's a God in heaven who brings ultimate judgment, and you need to repent while you still can.
Absolutely. And there's people in Georgia and Texas that still pack 9mm. So you need to be careful with that. Greg, you said something to me. Well, first, let me back up and ask you, these Lost Boys, are they all boys or some of them girls?
They were all boys. And they brought this girl in kind of as an extra, I think. All the boys had their girlfriends, but it was the boys that ran the coven, that ran the group.
Okay, and I said at the beginning they were a cult group, plus they were an occult group, meaning cult meanings it was very popular because it was taken from a movie, but then it was an occult because that was part of the movie. They took that on. So that shows you how Satan can operate through film, through visual, and it can actually get in and upon people,
Yeah, movies and music. People want to mock that now, I pray for our friend Ozzy Osbourne, because as much as he denies the darkness he was involved with, he knows that was real. They know that this stuff was real, and they go on to denial and say it had nothing to do with. But we know that a lot of these movies, a lot of these groups, a lot of these actors, they're all in on this stuff. They're not going to tell you, but they have been deeply involved in the dark side.
Well, see, the people that tell you they're not in on it, but they manifest the behavior. They couldn't tell you that they're in on it because they don't know, Greg. Their personality has been split. They don't even, a lot of times a lot of people I deal with have memory loss. They don't even remember certain periods of their life, And so I find, not a lot, but I find some of them really don't know. They're just confused, but they manifest this behavior that we've been talking about. I've got some hand raising. I think Betty was first, then Sunshine. Okay, go ahead, Sunshine.
Okay. All right. There was something I wanted to ask that you brought up a little bit ago about how somebody would say a word and then somebody would all of a sudden switch personality and become that murderous devil spirit demon whatever. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. I've been watching my whole life. I've been watching TV since 1958, I think. And I've noticed that since the 90s, since maybe a little earlier, watching all the sci-fi and now even in the soaps like General Hospital and stuff like that, that particular thought is becoming preeminent in all of the things that you see on TV to the point that people are being desensitized and the devil is sitting off in the corner laughing because they're believing, oh, it's just TV, it doesn't happen, it's just something they made up in Hollywood. That's the laugh, that's the deception and the laugh of the devil that he's having right now. And there will be a recompense, and God don't like ugly, but right now that's what we're dealing with. And I just wondered if you guys would comment on that, or if you think I'm off the beaten path.
Hmm. Go ahead, Greg. Thank you, Sunshine.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. Anything to say on that, Greg?
Yeah, I think they've been very good in the last 15 years or so since they pulled the whole satanic panic thing of doing TV shows and things that take real things that really happened
Uh-huh.
and turn them into fiction shows. So now everybody
Yeah.
thinks it's just fiction, but in fact, a lot of these that are being used to make people say, "Oh yeah, I saw that on some fiction show," that actually have a basis. They used a basis of real stuff that was happening, and then they just flip the script, as they say, so that people think, "Oh yeah, we're not worried about that. We saw that on the X Files or whatever."
Mhm. No, that's right. So what Greg is talking about is the satanic panic, which took place in the 1980s. I could cover it again. I covered it in my book. But before I dive into that, which I want to, Greg Sunshine brought up words. Uh, these these are triggers. These words are triggers. When someone's programmed, they're programmed with these words, with these triggers, so that when they hear something it's an association. They have an association with something. So if and what's interesting, talking about movies and reality, is I watched a movie, I think it was a Charles Bronson movie, where people would hear this one word, and when they did, they would go into this killer mode and they'd turn around and kill somebody just hearing this one word.
How can people be a participant and help you bring the Last Evangelist story to the public?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. We set it up as the model like The Chosen, where you can go and donate. You can actually be the financier on it. You go to lastevangelist.com and you can donate. You can be an actor, you can be a producer, you can be, or just donate. A special thank you. I want you to go and sign up right now to davidheavener.tv. It's exclusive just to the members. You'll see we have 10 channels, okay? We have the Prophecy channel, Saving Baby channel, the original TV series channel, the Health and Survival channel. We have a new channel called the Alien Demon Disclosure Abduction channel, and it's got a lot of L.A. Marzulli's videos that I've done with him, but a lot of other videos by other people. You can see that channel right there. We've got a new show up called Underground Alien, and it's the only place you're going to see these. You will not see them anywhere else. Please go and support the ministry by signing up. You can get 2 months free if you do it now, davidheavener.tv.